The more you try to keep me down and keep my head above the water, you can never hold me down. The more you try to block me out, that's where I kick the wall down. You can never hold me back. The more you try to put me out, the more I'll be blazing, it's too hot. The more you try to put me in the dirt, increase my work, the expert. You see the hunger in the eyes of a survivor. Swallowed my pride, washed down with some saliva. Reinvented my whole life, mental MacGyver. One door shut, another open up wider. Listen, battle drums in the distance, moving with enough force like army tank pistons. Pray for the strength of Jah to fight resistance. Fight mode, shields up, moving with resilience.
The strength of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant. Please stay strong. Please stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong.
Hi, everybody. It's Cleisha Campbell, the founder of Pinecase, the podcast where music is our drug of choice. Listen, it has been a week. Happy Easter to everybody that's been hanging out. Happy spring break. Welcome back to, all the kids going back to school and the jobs and all that good stuff. Tonight, we were hanging out with Billy MacDonald at the Downbeat. You've been doing yoga. You did a little bit of traveling. You did some crazy stuff during COVID. I'm not really sure exactly what kind of sprung the transition, but then you decided to kind of shift gears and bring a whole bunch of awesomeness to the Victoria area. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure's all ours. Man, okay, first of all, I need to know about the lemonade stand because I think that might have been some of the coolest. Like, your bio was short and sweet and to the point, and I was like, wait a second. What happened?
Yeah, me and an ex-partner, we lived in a house that was it was condemned for demolition. It was a huge house in the suburbs of Victoria. It was actually on a double lot, and a developer friend of mine purchased it, and the process takes about a year to redevelop a property. So instead of just demoing it, he thought, why not get some renters in it? He posted it on Facebook. So we moved into this giant house, just the two of us. It was 4 bedrooms up and 4 bedrooms down. I think it was about 2,000 square feet on each floor.
Okay.
Yeah, and it turns out the house was made of brick.
Oh, what?
Yeah, which is probably why we kept the sound within reason. But yeah. So 2020 was my 40th birth year. And in April, when everything was starting to shut down, I had this idea, for better or worse, to just open a nightclub in my living room. Because we had started, we'd go out dancing, and then we'd have more people over. And then our after parties got bigger. And then one night we had a DJ, like a real DJ, not just me screwing around, like a real DJ come over, and he played for 12 hours, and it was just so much fun.
Wow.
You don't need that many people at a party if they're all quality human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I had this idea, and I've got a construction background. So in our living room, which is about 20 by 20, which we call it the ballroom, I built a wall in front of the back window and a wall in front of another window. Built a DJ booth that looked like a lemonade stand.
That's so awesome.
And because the house was getting demoed, I put I hate seeing wires.
Right, fair.
So I drilled holes in the floor and put all the wires so they went down underneath the booth and then popped up underneath all the speakers.
Oh, okay.
All the ductwork I bashed out and blew cold air in.
Damn.
Oh, yeah,
you weren't playing. You weren't playing. So this is what I love about, so there's something about a blue collar dude who has the skill set and a little bit of innovative thinking. You're we're not going to sit tight during COVID. We're going to go in and actually bring some music, to the people. I don't know. 'Cause during that time we were told to sit down and kind of shut up. And, I don't want to talk too negatively about that experience. Obviously everybody has their own thing going on with that, but people that kind of grabbed it and was we're going to change the scene, or we're going to change the platform, or, do something different. I admire that. I think that's so fantastic. So that's really cool. Okay, keep going. So we got rid of the debt. We're like, drilling
it
holes.
appeared to me that what was going on social media, what I was seeing on the other end of my phone, wasn't representative of the numbers and the pandemic that was in front of me. I didn't know anybody who had COVID. I didn't know anybody who got really sick from it.
Yeah.
So it seemed very safe, and from my viewpoint, it seemed overblown. But I mean, I didn't live in any of these hotspots.
Right.
I mean, we have a nice little microcosm on our little island. But it just started as my 40th birthday, and we had a lot of fun. And after that, I'd had different DJs and whatnot approach me about putting parties together, and we had a private Facebook group. So I had complete control over who showed up at my house. And we ended up doing 17 parties from June 30th until Halloween. And Halloween, we went all out, and we had house music upstairs, and we transformed the basement. We had bass music and drum and bass. We had this jungle MC. And it was probably the best house party I've ever been to.
What? That's amazing.
But then the cops showed up.
Right, of course, that they do. So you got away with it for a little bit. Thank you, brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And then the cops roll in. Man, and that's, what, this is the frustrating part. I'm not going to sit here and advocate for people who were all hanging out together. It is what it is. I wasn't in a space either that looked like some of the major cities. Some of the smaller communities got away with a little bit more. So we don't have to deal with the politics necessarily of the situation. But to have them roll in and kind of take what little love that we kind of had at that time must have been maybe more hurtful than it usually would be.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it kind of seems spiteful.
Yeah.
So at 3 a.m., they kicked 70 people out of my house, and I got a $2,300 fine.
Damn.
Yeah. But then after that, all the weekend-long partiers knew where to go and have fun. So then we'd just have little secret parties that were just drug-fueled debauchery. Yeah.
But that's kind of the old school part of the rave scene that I don't want to say that we're missing anymore necessarily, but that kind of speakeasy, you got to know somebody to know somebody type of stuff. I mean,
no, exactly.
Some of the classic spaces, Carrington, we talked with Ben Howell about, that similar effect and how you get a higher quality of experience because you're getting people that are kind of going through the trenches a little bit to get to those spaces and experience it with you.
And I mean, we had some big, I don't want to name names because, but we had some talented individuals roll through my house. And at one point, whenever I do one of these projects, the results end up far exceeding any expectations.
Yeah.
One of my clearest memories, there was 6 MCs with loopers going, and a DJ and a bass guitarist and a lead guitarist. And then they asked me, can we set our drums up?
Wow.
And I was like, heck yeah, you can set your drums up. And then I'm standing there and there's a band in my living room. And just sheer joy from all these people. And it was the coolest party and the only party any of those people got to attend all summer.
Yeah, it's probably it's the highlight, right?
Oh, totally.
That interjection of frequency and love and intention. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for the politics part of it, but it was so necessary. And honestly, although, we can, again, back to the politics part of it, we leave that out of it. That's the medicine. That's the medicine that we talk about. And culturally, it's so necessary to just have people in the same space. But once you add in the actual, I don't know what frequency it is. I want to say 532. I don't know. Some of y'all know exactly what those frequencies are. And we know as the consumer that you know them because you guys ride so well. But even when the intention isn't there and it's just all about having fun and it be a little bit more free flowing and not necessarily therapeutic, we still get that residual effect from that. So.
Oh yeah, the whole thing was just for fun. I knew that if I sold liquor, that I would get into big trouble. I knew if I sold drugs, I'd get into big trouble.
Right. Yeah.
I never I never charged money at the door, but in turn, I never had to pay the DJs. Like everything was just for fun. And then
Right.
I turn around and give the DJs the majority of the guest list. So it'd be like, say a party's on Saturday, I'd release the lineup on Wednesday and then get together a guest list. And yeah, the party would pop off. It's funny because I don't think I've ever lived in such a clean house.
Really?
Oh, because we cleaned the heck out of the house
Right.
like, for the party, and then usually me and a couple stragglers would like get all the empties together and just leave the house clean.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always though like the rave moms or whatever too, right? Like there's always like a
Exactly.
crew of humans that don't ever really seem to leave, but always seem to like have themselves put together back again. And you're like, when did you have time to do all of that? And like everywhere they go, they just leave like a trail of like organization. And you're like, what
Oh,
the
yeah.
heck? What the
Racks
heck?
of clean dishes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally.
You know what? Right now, society can take some notes on that piece of like neighborly love and camaraderie. Like that's what we need to bring it back to, right? Like everyone having a place and a position in society that's like useful, but can be like traded as a commodity and just like leave the cash out of it. Like leave
Oh,
it
yeah,
out.
totally.
Yeah. There you go, you guys. Everyone that's hanging out with us tonight in the comment section, thank you so much. There's some really cool people out there. Your Passion, DJ Lion, whoa life. Like we got some real people in here tonight, and we thank you so much. You guys, let the people know that we need to be doing that, like bringing it back. Why not go back to like the you got carrots, I got potatoes type of thing? Like where is that energy at?
Yeah, it's kind of what I got going on now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what's happening right now. Because, I mean, other than this awesome backdrop, you got some pretty cool things going on.
Well, now I have, I kind of feel that I have some party karma to repay.
Okay.
So I've been throwing all ages parties.
Right. Yes.
So on Family Day, I threw an all ages party at the Downbeat, and yeah, it was just a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of DJ Lion, he was there with you guys.
Yeah, and he is absolutely an amazing turntablist. Yeah, I remember his mom asked me what mixer we had because he's starting to do live sampling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't even know what those buttons do. Like, I'm just one song and then the next song and then maybe some knobs in between. But yeah, that's about the extent of my knowledge. But yeah, no, he played a great set and a bunch of good throwback. Like, you know, when an 11-year-old finds a song that you grew up with,
Yeah.
okay, that's a classic.
Yeah. You know, he's being raised right? You're like,
Oh,
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I've known him for a little while. He's actually the first Pinecase bursary recipient. So he applied, there was 467 applications. And this was actually before Calico and I had any sort of like not friendship, but like, you know, business relationship. She came on after this. It's kind of how we ended up together with Pinecase. But anyways, he was the first recipient and he was so passionate about what he was doing. And I thought it was so interesting that at 10, you could be so sure of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, never mind the skill. I was just like, who really knows what they need in their life at that age? I found it so impressive. And so, you know, with Pinecase, we wanted to like find how do we partake in this kid's success? How do we, how do we support him in any way? And so the way that we found we could do that was through the bursary. But to be able to put together events and host youth for youth and families. I mean, where did that idea come from? Because not everybody thinks that that's a great idea. I mean, there's a ton of people, promoters, just people out there that don't really want to even touch all ages events, period. Like,
to put this in the most simple way, I'm a channel for ideas. Like, I don't take much credit for my ideas. The execution, yeah, that's mostly me.
Okay.
But yeah, I just get ideas like the lemonade stand. I had to convince so many friends that it was a good idea. But I mean, when I face scrutiny and then I need to like find my words to like convince somebody else, then it's also like reaffirming my idea. Yeah. So like I did all the renovations in here. So while I've probably spent, I don't know, probably 400 or 500 hours in here.
Wow.
Just working away. And when your hands are working, then the mind keeps going.
I find it interesting because the traditional, I don't know why blue collar has been on my mind this last couple of weeks, like heavy, maybe more so than usual. But when you're in those, I don't want to use the word monotonous, but it is a little bit monotonous. So when you're in that mindset, it seems like what used to be really specific to the paycheck, like you clock in, you clock out, this is what you got to do. I'm starting to notice a lot of these really cool people that have, drywallers, plumbers, whatever that may look like, starting to kind of venture out in these other spaces. And I never really thought how those jobs probably lend a lot of headspace to all the creativity in it. Like,
oh yeah, it's like going for a walk with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not learning and you already know how to do it, like, yeah, if you're not in that like front brain learning and you're just throwing your hands at a job, then yeah, your brain goes for a little walk. And yeah, if you can calm yourself enough, some good ideas lend themselves to you.
Well, and the other thing too is we almost respect it a little bit more. Like back in the day when you were like a musician or part of that industry at all, you never really talked about, your quote unquote day job. Like that wasn't part of the conversation, right? It was like, no, I'm a drummer or I'm a whatever. Like no one really talked about this other piece that's very much a part of your life. It was like people could only identify with maybe like the more rock star pieces of it. But now when, even just something as simple as people sending in their bios, it's like, it's so neat that with the same tenacity as you being, gosh, because your list is long of really cool stuff like addiction counselor. I don't know if yogi masters, maybe that might be like it, I don't really know the terminology, but instructor for sure, right?
Yeah.
And drywaller, I was like, okay, like this is a really common way for people to kind of come that way. Like all of those things hold space in a really rewarding and kind of like we need to talk about all of those things kind of way, which that hasn't always been the case. People would like pick the one thing that maybe was the most exciting and just kind of stick with that on their name tag.
Yeah. Well, I found like I just kind of stumbled into drywalling. Like I needed a job on Monday and it was Friday and I just kind of excelled at it. It's art like, it's not art. But moving around the mud, like moving a semi-solid around, it's got an incredible amount of feedback. Like, cause there's like viscosity and like thickness and just my like problem solving brain. Like every 2 weeks I get a new set of problems to solve.
Right.
And then like I add an apprentice or two. And like, I'd always tell my apprentices, it's like the drywall octopus, one brain with 8 arms.
Yes.
And then you have to do a beautiful crescendo for lunchtime. Like, so everybody's all done. Nobody gets left behind. And yeah, no, it's good. I liked doing it, but it was very hard on my body. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Is that where the yoga kind of comes in? Like, not
100%.
Okay.
Oh, I was drywalling for about 3 years. Yeah, I started drywalling when I was 27, and then by 30, I was numb from here to here on both sides, and my hands would go to sleep when I went to sleep.
That must have been terrifying.
Well, it happened so slowly. It's like a frog in the water.
Mm.
And my boss started seeing a movement therapist, and because he had lower back disc issues, and he's like, "You got to go see this lady." So then he paid for me to go see her, and then she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, what's going on with you?" I'm like, "Oh, well, there's all these things," and her like eyes shot open. I was like, "Oh, well, I guess you don't really notice it. Like when it's degenerative like that, it's like all of a sudden you just
sitting in the boiling water, man."
Exactly. Yeah. No, I've got an impinged nerve at C6. Yeah. So then I started doing hot yoga. I walked into a Bikram studio in 2010, and I was probably, I don't know, like 210 pounds, just a little pudgy.
Yeah, man.
And I'm in the back and I'm sweating my ass off, and there's this like old lady in the front, and she's just killing it.
Of course she is.
She's just killing it. And yoga is interesting because it's not like choreography. They're not very coordinated movements. It's just like stand on your left foot, pick your right foot up, kick it out. So yeah, it gave my head a shake because, like, you're a tradesman for crying out loud. And there's this, like, old lady just doing all this, displaying all this strength and whatnot. So I was hooked. And the first year, I think I lost like 40 pounds.
Wow.
And that's not even to try and lose weight. That was just to try and regain the feeling in my hands.
Whoa. Okay, wait a second. So there's so much interesting stuff because a lot of the times, people have these jobs that they create discomfort and then they go to prescription drugs and not to go straight into like the opioid crisis. But it's kind of it's such a super common conversation, especially around here, right?
Yeah.
And so I find it interesting that you were like, no, let me check this other thing instead. Let's see what else we can do before that we go down that road. Because doctors are pretty heavy-handed. I know they're trying to like maybe pull it back a little bit now. But historically, like that's kind of the journey for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't even like to take Tylenol.
Right.
No, I'm just like, and I'm more of like a fix it your damn self type of human being.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, yoga, that gives me the skills to fix it my damn self. And also like, I wasn't like, say physio's $60 a visit, a yoga pass is twice that. So I can go pretty much get physio twice a day sometimes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and not only is that like also self-care, it's like, it's physically demanding. So you're getting that, like that give back from it. You're gaining so much, you're calming your headspace. You have a bit of a community. Like there's so many positive things that come with trying something new that's, such as yoga. Like what are some of the benefits that you found kind of like right off the bat?
Posture, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, there's like fair. you can just be a confident person and like walk with your chest out, or you can like mold your body into confidence.
Right.
Yeah. Breathing correctly, like right down. Like I thought of like you hear a deep breath, but you don't actually like think about it's like the depth, like the bottom of your breath, like from your pelvic floor to like suck it out.
I just watched this actually, that it's actually negative pressure. It's not necessarily how full we can get our lungs, but it's the negative pressure creating like a seal to pull our lungs open.
Yeah. It's like, you remember that the 2-liter pop bottle with the bottom cut out, the plastic bag that you smoke pot with?
Absolutely.
That's your lungs. Cause you're like, your ribs don't move that much. So you have to pull the air out and then push it back up again.
Yeah. And we have this, it's so funny because, I don't know why I keep saying it's so funny. None of this stuff is funny. It's great and it's life and it's like love and it's learning. I don't know why I keep saying it's so funny. It's like the default word of the night, I guess. But it's interesting because when you indirectly fix something that maybe you weren't even focused on, I mean, that's got to be where some of that weight came from too, right? All of a sudden you're getting good circulation going around your body. You're starting to feel good. You're getting your your stamina up. All these things are happening and just naturally like you're going to start shaking the weight, which is, if that wasn't even the focus, like what a cool byproduct of trying something new and adding this new tool to your toolbox. And then, I mean,
totally.
Yeah. I mean, you look
even just
great.
Sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Like sweating, like cleans you from the inside out. Like there's heavy metals that you release through sweat that you don't release through any other means of release.
Right.
Like it's a product of the human body, of how you clean yourself.
That detox.
I'll notice if I haven't gone to a yoga class for a week or two, that's the feeling I get, that glow after the class, is because I just sweated a couple pounds.
Yeah, that crave. Tell me a little bit about the yoga class that you, and I mean, we don't have to like, talk about names or anything, but tell me about the class specific tonight, because man, I don't know if I even knew it existed.
That's because I thought of it again. It's not my idea. It just wound up in my head.
Right.
Well, it's just for years I would tell a contractor, okay, I'll meet you at 8:15 because yoga's done at 8. And they'd be like, you go to yoga? I'm like, yeah, I go to yoga and I can do all these drywall jobs. They're like, oh, I guess so. So I've just seen, like, I got so much benefit from it that I don't care. Like, I was the only man in so many yoga classes. It's kind of like, it's not a masculine environment.
No.
and even the dialogue is like, you know, blossom your chest towards the North Star. And it's like, how about just like, you know, how about just lift your chest up? Like, it doesn't have to be so ethereal. It can be fairly direct. So yeah, just seeing those particular barriers to men getting to yoga. And I think yoga is probably needed most by blue collar gentlemen like myself. So again, I just decided to do it my damn self. And it's great because I can swear, and I don't, if I taught at a regular yoga studio, I would try and blossom my chest and chakra stuff. And I mean, like I'm a spiritual person, but I don't need to know what's in the stew to enjoy the stew, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, yes. Yes. Okay, because I get overwhelmed by these things. I get overwhelmed by the things that I'm supposed to know before I go and do the thing. And it stops me a lot of the times from partaking in some of these things because I'm like, well, wait a second. I don't know the language. I don't know the what the heck's the clothes called?
Like the Lululemons.
You know, I don't know what I'm supposed to be with my threads. I don't know what I'm supposed to show up in. Like, I don't know, like, you know, and then now I got to get through all of that stuff and still get there. And then hopefully I don't do anything embarrassing because I don't really know the poses. And so, you know, I guess that's the beauty of regular people doing extraordinary things is we're all regular folks, you know, and it's even like this podcast. I'm like, if you got to swear, or you want to vape or have a drink or have a smoke, do whatever makes you comfortable. If that's what's going to, you know, get you through this space and to the other side, like do that then. Like, that's cool because it's just life, right? It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, my goal is to just make men feel less incompetent in that space. And hopefully they can go to another yoga class and enjoy that to its fullest and be able to walk into another class with confidence. Because there's some fantastic yoga teachers out there who string beautiful, like, it's almost like choreography. Like you can zone out so much by just doing exactly what they're saying, coordinating breath with movement, and it's much more engaging once you have like a base level of competence with it. Yeah. Or even to get more from the yoga video that they put on at home.
Well, and yeah, because once you've kind of
there's no teacher there to be like, okay, straighten your legs, okay, cup your back more, okay, like rotate your arms in. It's like you're only doing like the verbal cues to a video. Like there's no interaction. There's no way to get better. But if you already have a baseline set of skills, then yeah, totally you could crush a half-hour video on YouTube and get more out of it.
So the goal really is to like set people up for success. You're like, let me make this, the first piece of this, as easy as possible, as comfortable as possible. Let's just get you through the door and show you that this isn't nearly as intimidating as you think it is. And then you can go and do whatever you need to do. I think setting people up for success is probably, I mean, it's got to be up there in like 10 biggest gifts you can give somebody, you know, next to totally. Music and kindness. Like, you know, that's wicked. Man, you're so cool, Billy. Thank you. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me.
Man, it's such a pleasure. Seriously. I find it so interesting that, you know, Calico's so amazing. She goes out there and she finds all these amazing human beings to bring back here so that we can show the kids that, you know, it's cool to be cool and it's cool to not be cool sometimes, and that we can rely on each other. You know, even if we were told to suck it up and deal with it. And so I appreciate these awesome humans that she finds, much like yourself, to like come and hang out with us and just share the experience and share what you guys are up to. I mean, you started the lemonade stand out of, I don't even know what you want to call COVID, because man, that was hard for a lot of things, but you came up with this cool idea, and then to take something already that exists and find a better way to do it, or just to, you know, bring people a platform that they can just like rock out on is, yeah, that's really neat.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took me way too long to realize it is hip to be square.
Yes.
And like kids go out there, be a keener.
Yes.
Make friends with the nerds.
Yes.
Like there's this whole like James Dean, don't give a fuck kind of ideology that you're just not supposed to care.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no that attitude, it doesn't give back anything to you.
No. Yeah, and find people that have interesting interests. Like, why
Oh
not?
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Find people that are doing the weird stuff that you wouldn't think to do. I guess that's maybe what this whole thing was about, really. I didn't, okay, so explain a little bit more of this like trajectory that you were on. So what was the deal? Like, who were you then before the lemonade stand? Because there had to have been something going on that brought you to want to do such a project.
I was just a dude. No, I was totally just a dude. Like, I had turntables in my basement and I just kind of mess around. But like the journey from your bedroom to a nightclub, it's like it's vast.
Right.
And I was just a dude. Like, I was a stepdad for like 10 years, and I never really latched on to anything or found anything to be super passionate about. And I met a girl, and she lived this like amazing fairy tale life of like Burning Man and performances and like rainbow gatherings, and she'd tell me stories for like ever, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know you could just do shit like that. And I was like, huh. So I decided to just do shit like that, and yeah, it's working out.
Yeah.
I just had to stop doing drugs, but learn about it the hard way.
Yeah.
But the hard way was much more profound. Yeah.
Do you mind if we talk about that a little bit? Because we have a very wide road of recovery over here. Some people come on here and they're like, man, I went to jail and I was forced into sobriety, and I take it one day at a time, and I'm very much in recovery forever. And then we have other people that slide through here and they're like, nah, I utilize substances, maybe one time extra too many, no big deal, might again one day, but right now I'm just living my best intoxicated life. Like, it's really interesting, and I find it so neat that people are identified maybe at maybe a situation or an issue, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this kind of like extreme you got to cut out everything in order to be clean anymore. You can just not do things for a little while. Like, where are you at with all that? What do you stand on in that situation?
I've kind of lately had this realization that cocaine probably saved my life.
Okay. Whoa.
It gave me something to look forward to in my darkest time.
Yeah.
And it was like my higher power, as they say in those rooms. Yeah. And when it was time for it to leave my life, it kind of left with a sputter.
Yeah.
And the thing about doing those drugs, your body gets into that state, that dopaminergic heightened state, that whenever I found I got back into that state, then I'd have a flood of emotions and like memories from the most trying time in my life. And so after the lemonade stand, I kind of floated around, lived on some couches, ended up in a trailer, and I didn't even have the money to go back and forth from work. When I started COVID, I had like 8 employees, and some of them took the $2K a month. Like, why work when you can not work? Some customers, like, my business just went down, and then by the end of the lemonade stand, it was just me. I didn't have any employees, and on May, I think it was the 18th. Yeah, on May the 18th, I entered a treatment facility and spent 50 days there. And then after that, I packed all my stuff into my Volkswagen van and moved to Nelson to sort myself out. Because I didn't even, I didn't realize that I had post-traumatic stress disorder until I was telling my counselor in rehab just some of the shit that had happened to me. And they're like, oh, well, I think you should go to this group. I was like, oh, okay. It was a specified group. and I'm sitting in this group with like people like victims of domestic violence, people who were abused as children, and I was the 9th one in that group. And it just occurred to me like, holy shit, bro, you have PTSD.
Yeah.
So when I got to Nelson, it was hard to sort out what was sobriety and what was PTSD, because I'm just way more open now. Like, things affect me more. Like, sad things are sadder, but happy things are also happier. So as long as I don't do sad things or put sad things in my body, then I'm kind of, I don't want to say better off, but it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when you started that whole thing, like, it was hard not to think that that I don't want to say that cocaine, because you said it saved you, but it's like it almost, drugs make us go through things as well. Like they, how do I explain this without sounding some sort of way? If that's what
It was a
was
crutch.
if that and if that was the catalyst to get you to where you then needed to be, then like, I'm here for that all day. Like, if doing the drugs stopped you from ending your life, or if doing the drugs numbed that situation enough for you to tolerate the day to day, because I think people forget about like the heavy pressure of just like existing like that.
Oh, yeah.
That is, that's a massive part of it, and it's not talked about enough. Calico says there's a weird sound. I don't know. Can you hear weird sound? I can't.
No.
Hold
I think
on.
the ice machine's on in the back.
Oh, maybe.
It only lasts a second.
That's fine. That's real life venue stuff right there. We ain't worried about ice
totally.
machines.
It's
okay.
It's tough in Sabasta when like the jackhammers are outside and then the
Right.
ice machine kicks on.
No, man, that's real life right there. But no, I think it's really interesting because, if that's what has to happen in order to get there, then, and allows you to work through some of this stuff. What was it like sitting in a room full of people? And again, I don't want to give you outs all the time to this conversation, but I am genuinely interested to know, like, when you're sitting there around people that are talking about heavy trauma, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I can actually identify with some of this stuff, because not all of us know that up until that point, right? Like, that was your first experience with treatment.
Yeah. No, again, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's like that frog, and like, to use that frog analogy.
Yeah.
It's you don't really tell. It's just one bad day after another bad day, and you're like 0.5% worse, and all of a sudden, like when I first got to treatment, I slept for like 18 hours a day for the first couple days, and then after about 5 days, because I hadn't even had like a proper vacation. Like I had been go for like 2 years. Yeah. And like my shoulders started to settle. And I remember walking from like one group session to another, and I was whistling. And I couldn't remember the last time that I had whistled. Like I genuinely couldn't remember, just some stupid Looney Tunes tune or something. And yeah, all of a sudden I just felt lighter and a little more optimistic. And it's like, oh, okay, let's do the work. And they had a gym there. I hit the gym like 3 times a week. I was going to yoga every morning. There was yoga. Like, yeah, no, I put my full effort and force and being into never having to go. Like, I cherish my time at Cedars. I never want to go back there again. I mean, I've been back for like alumni things and stuff like that, but as far as being a resident, no. And I mean, by the end of it, the new people thought that I worked there.
That's I can see that. I can totally see that happening. That's actually how Pinecase started, was in a detox center, very much the same way.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But that's when you do the work, not for the program, but for yourself, right?
Oh,
You're like,
totally.
man, we're going to do this and start applying this stuff to like every aspect of it. You know, that's really cool. So, and then
Well, I think everyone at the age of 40 should take 50 days off of their life and go do a bunch of group therapy in the woods with a bunch of other grown adults. Rehab can be for anyone.
Yes, I left, not to make it about me, but I left and immediately text like people I love. And I was like, when is the last time that you went 3 weeks without green tea? When is the last time you went, 72 hours without whatever, like sugar? Like, when is the last time that you just put yourself in a situation where you didn't have access to like your creature comforts? Like, it doesn't even have to be as serious as, some of these heavy drugs. Like, when's the last time you just challenged yourself in a way that was a little bit uncomfortable? And I agree with you. I think everybody that hits that, 35 might be still too. Don't go throughout your 40s without doing that for yourself. I agree with you 100%.
Well, it's like you bring in bad habits of like lying a little bit here and there, and then you start dating, and then maybe there's a little infidelity on both sides. You just like roll all these bad habits into bad habits and you just don't have a time to stop and pull your head out of your ass.
Yes, exactly.
Like the second to last day, I sat with a priest. Like, I'm not Christian, but I'm a spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely respect a human being who's dedicated their life to any faith.
Yeah.
And I sat with a priest for 5 hours. I had 2 days beforehand to write down every shitty thing I'd ever done. It was rough.
Damn.
And I sat with the priest, and we itemized one by one, and he forgave me.
Really?
Yeah. We cried and we hugged, and it was definitely that was one of the most spiritual experiences of my entire life.
Holy crap.
But I got a clean slate. Like, how many people have a clean slate? It's like, okay, you're forgiven, now don't lie anymore. Like, okay, I'll do my goddamn best to not lie anymore. And even just like lying seems so black and white, but it's a spectrum. Like, you're on the phone, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna totally measure that job out later, or oh yeah, buddy called in sick, so I'm late, or like there's also like we mold the truth to suit the recipient in so many ways, so it's a little bit easier on them, or so we think.
I honestly, that feeling that you're talking about, that immediate gratification, we got to make the other person comfortable. We need to defuse the situation that doesn't necessarily even exist yet. That, those little moments where we
just little white ones.
Those little white ones. Yeah. But I mean, they probably have the biggest effect, right? Like, those are the ones that then sit with you for the next 8 hours while you think about how you're not doing the thing that you said you were going to do.
Oh, totally. Well, they go, what goes out your mouth comes around back in and goes in your ears.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, you do it, like, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to lie out your mouth, you're going to lie to yourself.
Yeah. Well, and that's probably part of like the PTSD too, right? Like, a lot of people don't realize that once you start kind of attacking those things, then appeasing other people, some of those coping skills kind of fall at the waist as well. I mean, people pleasing is I always just like blame it on me. I'm like, oh, is a part of this. And I say that just to like let people off the hook a little bit. But when I say those things, I'm usually talking about like a general bigger audience than just me specifically. But people pleasing is definitely a part of, of a coping strategy for PTSD. And so in that there's those little white lies. And if you excuse yourself of that feeling and start healing, then man, what a neat experience. Like, and those are the experiences I don't think people realize that they're going to have when they go into these. They go into it like, okay, I got to come clean off of this drug or this substance or this, whatever. And then they end up learning about codependency from a Buddhist monk. Yeah. No, and it's like,
like I've read parts of the big book, the NA book and the AA book. Yeah. The Codependence Anonymous book, that one rang quite true to me.
That one. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Wellbriety? It's like
Variety? No.
So there's NACA, either all those traditional ones, and then there's like a First Nations based recovery that's kind of structured similar, but the book is called The Red Road, and it's called Wellbriety, and it's maybe where I found the most comfort, but that was, yeah, the my introduction to it was a Buddhist monk of 33 years who came back to his band and decided to be an instructor for recovery, which, as I'm saying it out loud, I don't know how many things had to happen in order for that to be a part of my story, because it's
Yeah.
actually kind of wild. But it's a beautiful rendition of like traditional recovery.
Yeah.
So I highly suggest checking it out if it's something like codependency. I mean, there's a whole lot of other pieces to it, but yeah, if it's something that you're like proactively looking into, well, Bridie is definitely a neat group of people to hang out with for sure. Every once in a while.
I'm pretty settled in my program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably my greatest triumph is moderating my self-talk.
Ooh.
It's like being my biggest fan
Yeah.
and being my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got two, like my ethos in this new Billy 2.0 is act like a man you'd want your daughter to date and treat yourself like your son. And I think if you run anything through those two questions, you're probably going to end up on the better end of any scenario.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't want my son to drink alcohol. I mean, he can fuck around with acid once in a while.
Totally.
But yeah, no, I don't think you should drink alcohol. You shouldn't, do cocaine. And yeah, same thing with being a man I would want my daughter to date. Yeah, I want that man to be truthful. I want him to treat women right. I want him to stand up for what's right. I want him to do cool shit.
Yeah. What a great standard. It's a great standard. It's so simple. There's nothing fancy to any of that. It's so simple. And especially anyone with kids can easily identify with all of that. That's an easy one. Why that isn't the standard, I'm not even really sure, because it should be,
Yeah, no, it's even like what would Jesus do?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But it's like, if you
WWJD.
reframe that, it's like, hey, what if your dad was God?
Right.
And what if dad loved you a lot? What would you do in that scenario?
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably do whatever appealed to the highest good.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really need to be Christian for that.
No. Well, and yeah, Christianity or any sort of religion and spirituality, I mean, the conversation's essentially the same. And
entirely. We're all trying to explain the same magic.
Yeah. Which is not that wild. Like, why the standard isn't kindness and love to others, but more importantly to yourself. I'll never understand why we torture ourselves the way that we do. And obviously every lesson is learned, and everything for reason, and there's a ton of sayings that I can put into this space right now, but yeah, to have to go through a bunch of life to figure that out, it almost seems unfair, right? Like, so easy. Like, how did I not know that at 12 almost?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was in treatment, my favorite counselor, he's like, you're like me. You're one of them smart idiots. And yeah, I have to learn all the lessons the hard way. Yeah. And I have to learn them all my damn self. If I could have read a book about this when I was young, or gone to church, or listened in church, then you and I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right. No, we absolutely wouldn't. But that's the important part. I mean, the purpose behind all of that process, like, I can say it with absolute certainty, because I can see the comments, like, to take all of that and turn it into such a well-packaged little piece of information, even just saying, like, act like, someone you'd want your daughter to date, and be like your son. Like, I mean, whether you're male or female, or however you want to, place that, it's like, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's worth that 40 years. So thank you so much for bringing that knowledge over here for us. Thank you so much for bringing that piece of it. I can say that with all the love that I appreciate that,
Oh, you're
you
so
know?
welcome. Yeah, that cost me.
Yeah.
That cost me some things to learn, but now I know it.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm 45, so I'm halfway there if I keep doing
Ah,
it.
you're still young. That's still
Yeah,
young.
exactly.
That's so young. That's so young. What a beauty. I love it, man. I am so content in my age right now. I'm so content in my life, so content with the people around me. And I mean, the 20s they're so much fun and you can do a lot of wild things. But once you hit that stride, like I think, humans really do start peaking around our age. Like,
Oh, totally.
you know, the
Yeah, you're
goal
still
is,
physically fit and you're much
yeah.
more mentally fit. You know what
Yeah.
not to do.
Right, right.
Yeah, I call it error and trial because I have to err before I trial something else.
Right.
Because if
And
I didn't err, why would I trial anything else? I just stick with what I know.
exactly. And then the goal always, I'm like, okay, now, like, it's like I want to be that crazy old lady on the porch. Like, I'm totally down with that. Like, bring that on. Like, let me just yell at the kids. Like, all my mom says that she's older, uglier, and wiser than I am, And I always thought that was so funny, and it took me forever to kind of figure out what she was talking about. But I'm like, I want to be older, uglier, and wiser too. Like, that's great. Like, I can't wait for that. Like, so, yeah. Well, speaking of older, uglier, and wiser, because we're here now, like, is there anything that's kind of floating around up here a little bit that you might grab onto? Any projects that we can look out for, or any ideas that you might want to share with us before we wrap this up and roll out?
We've got Mantha Yoga. That's what it's called.
Very
Like,
cool.
yeah, I thought I came up with Broga, and
That's
then
cool.
well, and as I do, you go to the internet, you Google it, and oh, it's a whole thing already. I'm like,
Totally.
damn it! So I thought of Mantha, which is a combination of man and hatha,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the yoga that I teach.
Very cool.
And I've got the Family Funhouse Project, which is
Yes.
all ages parties.
Okay.
Next one is May the 19th, and that one is Alice in Wonderland theme due to the regalness of the holiday. So there should be a bunch of princes and princesses down here having a blast.
Very cool.
Oh, I'm also part of have you heard of Recovery House?
No.
We throw sober parties in Victoria.
Oh, wait, hold on. No. Okay. It's literally at the top of my notes.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, I need to know about this. Like, what is this sober party thing? I mean, what's going on with that? When are the dates? And like,
May 3rd, we have a party at the Eastern Star Hall.
yes.
And we are going to Otherworld Festival.
Yes.
You're not supposed to call it a festival, but the Otherworld Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
And we hold recovery meetings there.
Very cool.
Yeah, amongst other things, we're like, of course, the sober people have the first to have the coffee on.
Yeah.
And we have a sober bar, and it's just a bunch of kind of, yeah, I guess it's a safe haven for people. And people, like, just to know, like, when you're doing drugs and you've got a little bit of drugs in your pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and up here it's going to be fine, you won't have to look for drugs later, so you can just chill. So it's like that, but the exact opposite. So there's like a safe haven of sober people, so you can go up there, whether you use the safe haven of sober people or not, it's there.
Yeah.
So that's been really, really well received.
That is I mean, I don't know. Calico and I have been talking about recoining harm reduction. Obviously, that's not going to happen in that sort of way. And I think that maybe I don't want to talk about conversations that y'all have had either, because we were talking maybe more so for the kids. But there is something about a community within that community, a safe place for everybody, that is absolutely hands down the biggest piece of harm reduction that there possibly could be. And I know there's probably a million beautiful words that we could use instead of that space, but what a cool thing to be a part of. Calico's gonna go ahead and throw that in the comments for everybody to go and check out, as well as the Alice in Wonderland theme event. When do those ones start?
That one's on May the 19th.
May 19th.
Yeah, usually they run 10 to 4.
10 to 4.
Yeah, we haven't officially announced that one yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we won't have to like run that up in the comment section or anything crazy, but
Yeah, no,
definitely
there will
something to
be.
look
Like,
for.
I don't like to do like artist bios and stuff, because when the DJs come up here, they're just parents. So I want them to all be kind of equal at the round table,
Yeah.
instead of like a regular event where you're like, oh, featuring this DJ and that DJ and this DJ. Like, I want DJ Lion to have the same level as any other DJ that he's on the stage with.
Man. See, it's the little things.
Yeah, totally.
It's the little things that mean so much. Like, we're just human. We're just humans, man.
Yeah, in the end, no matter how famous or whatever you are, you're just blood and guts like the rest of us.
Billy, it's been such a pleasure. You actually got my mind going more than I'm sitting here. I'm like, yeah, man, this is yeah, totally. Thank you. Like, I feel so stimulated and excited, and I'm super stoked to like hit my notebook after this, because it's just lovely to be in your presence and to hear what you got going on. Thank you so much for sharing it with our community and with the world. If there's anything little old Pinecase can do for you guys, please do not hesitate to ask. We're absolutely an ally and a friend. Before we sneak out of here, I'm going to run you guys through the hashtag 988 numbers. So for you guys hanging out with us, or could be hanging out with us in the future, if you're feeling a little bit of pressure, it is springtime. Our warm line has been a little bit busier than usual. So just a general shout out to everybody. Reach out to your friends. Like, just say, hey, check in, do the DJ all good, pew, 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 MIA situation. Like, if you're thinking of somebody, drop them a little bit of love. It doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything, right? We're here for each other. The hashtag 988, that's for the little bit more serious stuff, right? That's the Canadian and US number. For the old folks, that's pound 988. It's the helpline. That's going to take you straight through to the crisis professionals, crisis professionals, the Christ professionals. Well, maybe some of those too, who knows? But the crisis professionals, and they're wonderful. I've called in to check to see what exactly you guys were going to be getting, just to make sure that I wasn't sending people over there to, a sterile operating table. And our warm line is 250-289-3948, 250-289-3948. You guys can use that. Call us. Let us know, man. If your dog got hit or your wife's driving you crazy or whatever, we're here for you. The little things can feel like big things, and before it turns into a big situation, we want to make sure that you don't feel alone in any of that. So like I said before, you guys lean on each other, reach out to each other, take care of each other, and thank you so much for hanging out with us. Billy MacDonald, everybody.
Awesome.
Do one of these.
Bye, internet.
Yeah.
Namaste and shit.
Yeah, and shit. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Please stay strong. Please stay
The
strong.
further you take my rights away, I'ma run to it, refuse to hear my voice. Speak loud when I spit it, but you don't get it. You just wanna be a side critic. See somebody else showing hate in the side of the road with it. Now how would you feel standing on the sideline and watch the color of a nation deteriorate over time? The flag real high, but compassion 6 feet below. Now you're searching for that justice that the side of the never showed. Deny my place, I'm back with a trace. Keep up the pace, tight lace, game face, get back in the race. Whatever they did could never be undone. Every dark night ends with the rising of the sun. Squandered every wealth that's built from the mud. Squandered every wealth that's built from the blood. Squandered every wealth that's built in chains. Stolen from the ancestors,
With
running
the
through my
strength
veins.
of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant, please stay strong. Please stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong. We stay strong.
I can see, run to the light at the end of the tunnel winner.
We stay strong.
I can't breathe, we're gonna get oxygen without the justice system.
We stay strong.
And I know, gotta keep my head together,
We stay strong.
Don't doubt me, please don't doubt me.
We stay strong.
Tell me how can we be strong if we still shooting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still looting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still hating? Please tell me now, please.